lastly, we have to understand the sacrifice of service. That serving always equals a sacrifice. Serving always costs you something. Sacrifice will cost you your comfort. I said it a few weeks ago that purpose doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Purpose doesn't wait for perfect moments. Sacrifice will cost you convenience. The builders, we don't wait for it to be easy. We don't wait for it to always make sense. Sacrifice will cost you your resources, your agenda, where I become more concerned with God's plan than my plan. Sacrifice is never what's easy, but it is what it means to serve. For the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. The word translated ransom is latron, which also means the price of release. That his blood was the price to release us from sin. His blood was the price to release us from our past. His blood is what paid for our freedom and our salvation. And now he says, join me in this. Join me in this sacrifice. We see this language throughout the Gospels to pick up your cross and to bear your cross. And while we may never be called to go to a physical cross, he does call us to a spiritual one. To lay down our life, to lay down our comfort, to lay down our fear and our rights and what's easy, and count the cost and pay the price to make an eternal impact. We're called to build. We're called to serve. We're called to sacrifice. And I just wonder this morning if there's any builders in the room today. Because you see, we're not just building for ourselves, but we're building for a generation that will follow us. We're building for our students and our kids. We're called to build. We're called to serve. Picture this scene with me. It's the night before the cross. The weight of betrayal is already in the air. Jesus knows what's coming. It's the pain of the cross, the humiliation, the nails, the silence of heaven. And yet, in this room with the disciples that he's poured his life into, he doesn't teach another parable. He doesn't perform another miracle. But he stands up and he takes off his robe and he kneels down and he grabs a towel. And he ties it around his waist and he begins to pour the water, and you can hear the sound of the water in the basin. You can hear it echoing through the silence and the stillness of this room, because this wasn't expected. This wasn't expected. The discomfort of the disciples rising in the room as Jesus kneels, the King of Glory kneels to wash dirty feet. Feet that would run in fear. Feet that would question his purpose and who he was. Feet that would ultimately deny him. But the King of Glory knelt, and the Creator of all prepared to wash the feet of his creation. The teacher, the master, took a posture of a servant. And no one made a sound. No one spoke a word. Because this wasn't expected. This isn't how kings act. This isn't what leaders do. This isn't what greatness looks like. But yet Jesus would respond to them in John 13, and he would say, you call me teacher and Lord, and you would be right. But if I wash your feet, how much more should you wash one another's? What is he saying? He's saying, if I have come to serve, how much more are you called to serve? And the question that he was asking the disciples is that when I leave and I return to my Father, someone has to pick up the towel. Someone has to carry the mission. Someone has to continue to build the kingdom. Will you pick up the towel? The disciples would receive the Holy Spirit, and they would begin what would then be known as the church, the birth of the church, to carry the mission and the mandate of Jesus. But it began with a simple, humble moment where Jesus simply said, will you carry the towel? Will you build my church? And this is the same question that Jesus is asking us today, because this is what it really looks like to follow Jesus. This is what it really looks like to lead and to be great in the kingdom. This is what it looks like to build His church, not with a crown, but with a cross, not with applause, but surrender, not with a position, but a posture of humility, not with a seat of influence and being seen and recognized, but with a sacrifice. So the invitation today is the same that Jesus gave to the disciples. Will we pick up the towel? Will we pick up the towel? And while, yes, there's a place to pick up the towel for this church, there's a place to pick up the towel in your marriage. There's a place to pick up the towel in your business. There's a place to pick up the towel in your home with your kids. There's a place to pick up the towel with those who have hurt you and done you wrong and cast you aside. And the question is, will we serve like Jesus served? Because that's the assignment. Will you pick up the towel? Will you commit to serve? Will you commit to build not a crowd, but His kingdom? We have an assignment. We have an assignment. And God is looking for someone to say, yes, I'll pick up the towel. I'll build your kingdom. I'll make a difference for you.